Last week I received news from another dear friend of mine telling me that a member of her family, a 21-year-old boy, had taken his own life. And surprisingly, this is the third time that two more of my dearest and closest friends at the time lost their boys at 21 years, same way. I wasn't far from suicide myself. In fact, I remember just bursting out of my home. We lived at that time down in the valley behind me. I remember one evening only too well. I just couldn't bear it. I just broke out, slammed the door behind me and went and stood over the bridge looking at the river. I suppose that was as near as I've ever come to ending my own life. But ever since the age of 12, when we first moved up here from the south of England, I've been coming up to where I'm sitting now. And gradually I fell deeper in love with the experience of just being up here. I didn't have the words to express it then, but now I use words like space, and I contrast the space I find up here to the limitedness of what used to just make me feel so claustrophobically trapped within a world of man that was too small, and I just couldn't breathe in it. I couldn't somehow function in that world of should and must and ought, the obligations and the duties of what I felt was required of me. So I felt such a failure in that world. And I'd come up here. I was nearly always alone in those days. I never had any close friends. But I'd come up here and I'd feel better. And after a while up here, I'd be able to go back home again. What was it I found up here? I've got a sort of sequence in my mind which has become a bit of a motto for me now. Silence. Silence like I feel up here. It often goes with solitude. Space. With space comes that expansion, that sense of freedom, at least. It's bigger, isn't it? Expansion. Freedom, silence, space, freedom. Isn't it extraordinary? Why should freedom be associated with silence? But you know it is. Try it for yourself. And what could be more natural than just to let the eyes gaze on this lovely field of seeding grass, and the ears be open to the summer sounds of birds, and through the trees to my right, some distant traffic. Do you know, all I've really done is just walk up a hill. Because the town, with all its people and all the sort of tensions and stresses and problems of what we call life, is still down there in the valley. And all I've done is climb a hill, and here I am.